Welcome to A Photographer's Life, the channel that takes you behind the curtain into the world of professional architectural photography. Join us now for an episode with one of America's premier architectural photographers. Today's broadcast is a recent interview with veteran American architectural photographer, Norman Sizemore. Today's interview was conducted by AIAP Director Alan Blakely. We hope you enjoy the show. If you do, please let us know by liking this episode and subscribing to this channel. Now, on with the show.
So we want to welcome everyone today. We're talking with Norman Sizemore. He's an architectural photographer out of Chicago. Norman's been a member of AIAP for a number of years, and he's one of the more high-profile architectural photographers in the country, and we're glad to have him here. And so welcome, Norman. Appreciate you taking time.
Thank you for having me, Alan.
So first off, thanks for taking time with us this morning. But let's start out with your beginnings in photography, and I just want to give everybody some background. And can you tell us what was your introduction to photography, and how did you develop an interest in photography to start out with?
And how far back do we want to go?
Let's start at the beginning. When did you first take an interest?
I've always loved photography. My father gave me an Olive 220 when I was a kid.
Oh.
So, I learned how to roll a film back and load and shoot. And I took classes. I had photography in high school, but I never thought of it as a career till I was working with a marketing company, electronics company in the late 80s. And I was involved with some of their marketing, and I had to, we had to create storyboards, and we had to create camera-ready art.
Mm-hmm.
So it required me to work with some, technical photography studios, to create slicks and transparencies for the Consumer Electronics Show, and and cut sheets for their advertising. So I got some experience like that, and I thought, I really wouldn't mind doing this because I love photography anyway, and I was an amateur photographer. I was always shooting something.
Mm-hmm.
A friend of mine from school, Nini, she had a studio, and I had her do quite a bit of our marketing photography as well, and that's what she did. And I was always impressed that she's just a couple of years younger than me, and that was her career. Here I am working at a desk, and she's out there having fun working in a studio. So that's what really got me into, I remember coming home one day from my wife. I was frustrated with work, and she says, "What do you want to do?" I said, "I want to be a photographer." And that was it. So I kicked it off that way.
And did you make the jump, just all in one leap? Did you start?
All in one leap.
Okay.
Some people that I talk to, they do this as a side gig.
Yeah.
Or, what's your day job? This is my day job. This is all I do. I get that sometime. One of my best clients, he's, "Oh, Norman, I love this picture." He says, and he showed me this image I shot. And he goes, he said, "I've made $1 million on that picture." And he goes, "I've always been curious." He goes, "What do you do for a living?" What do you mean? He goes, "What's your day job?" I said, "This is all I do."
Yeah.
But yeah, I think that someone, if they're interested in starting photography, that you got to put 150% into it. If you want to be successful, if you want that to be your career, then you got to commit to it.
So how did you make that transition? Did you just quit your job one day and
I did.
Yeah,
I quit on a Friday, and Monday I walked into the office, and Mary Beth had worked with me, and she was doing the same thing I was doing. And I told her, I said, I'd like to start this photography business. And she's partnered with me since then, which has been really helpful for me because Mary Beth was the graphic artist that did all the storyboards, and she has skills. And today she works with me in shooting, but mostly in processing. The reason I think our images are so beautiful is because Mary Beth and I have this workflow where I'll develop a raw image and then send it off to her. She'll make sure the lighting and the coloring is very accurate because we work with a lot of designers, and then sends it
Yeah.
back to me and I finish it off.
Okay.
But the reason our photography is beautiful, I think, is because of what she does in our processing.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
Yeah.
It's like a second set of eyes to kind of polish
Oh,
things.
absolutely. Yeah.
That's
And we
interesting.
never agree on anything. So that's why it works so good. We've worked together for, I don't know, 34, 35 years. So
Oh, that's amazing.
yeah.
So did you start out, I mean, did you open a studio space
Yeah,
initially?
right away.
Okay.
Yeah. I started I did you know, I used to shoot weddings for friends, and I transitioned that into advertising wedding photography. That's how we started. We shot,
Mm,
you know, high school seniors in portraits, and, you know, bands, musicians,
okay.
since,
Yeah.
yeah. But that's what got us into, into photography. Um, Getting into architectural photography, I had a studio in a town south of Chicago in Plainfield.
Hmm.
And I get a call from an architect in Michigan, and he said, I built uh, this gas station behind you. It was pretty elaborate, it was a one-stop mobile station,
Oh, okay. Yeah.
had a restaurant in it, and a store. And he said, I want you to take your camera, shoot a roll of film, don't process it, just shoot it. He goes, what would you charge me just to shoot that building?
Oh,
Because
he
I need it for my portfolio.
just wanted the film, huh?
And I gave him a number, and I went and shot it, mailed him the film. And a week or so later, he calls me back. He said, that's the best architectural photography I've ever seen. He said, you want to do a world tour? And I ended up driving around 39 states
Oh my gosh.
photographing this architect's buildings. Yeah. Yeah, that's when I contacted you.
So that was kind of
That
when the
was in the
light
year
bulb
two.
went off. Yeah.
Yeah, that was in the year 2000. Uh,
Okay.
and I didn't know anything about architectural photography.
Yeah.
And the internet was still in its infancy stages, but I
Sure.
found your email.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
And your website, looked at some of your work. And I remember asking you, Alan, I'm a portrait photography. Can you help me out? What do I do here? And you sent me these sheets that I still have on my computer. Blakely's photography tips, I think you called it.
Yeah.
Yeah. And Norman, do this, and this, use this lens, use a tripod. I'd never work with a tripod. Uh, and and that help got me started.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember putting that together, and I always wondered, I sent out hundreds of those. I always wondered how many actually got read, but
Yeah. Oh, I read it. I studied it. Are you kidding me? It
I did
was,
that initially for an online magazine that I was doing a monthly column in.
yeah.
And I would do these monthly columns, and the name of which escapes you right now. They're not around anymore, but I would do these how-to columns every month,
Yeah.
and then so I think that was some of the stuff that I sent you. But that's interesting. So you didn't start out initially to be an architectural photographer, but you've kind of
No,
is
but
that that's the bulk of what you do now? I take it though.
oh yeah, it's probably 80% of our work
Okay.
or better. Yeah. Yeah, we advertise ourselves as architectural photographers. We can do
Hmm.
studio work. I love photography. I'll photograph a brick. I don't care.
Yeah.
Um, it's but we focus on architectural.
Yeah. I think we all well, I think most of the people in the organization anyway started out as kind of generalists. And I mean, I started out working for ad agencies, and it's interesting because I started out in an ad agency, um, kind of like you, and
Yeah.
with a desk, and I lasted a year, and they fired me because could not commit to that lifestyle.
Uh,
um, and that was the impetus that and my wife said the same thing. They fired me 2 weeks before we got married, and 'cause I was not spending
yeah.
enough time at the agency.
Well, my first choice for a career was a musician, but when I got married, that ended. So
Yeah,
no more studio work for Norman. Um, yeah. but this is I like being in the creative field.
Yeah,
And even if you're doing marketing or advertising, photography, music, those are all things that you look forward to doing because it involves
sure.
creativity, and I love that. Yeah.
Well, yeah, it's kind of that right brain dominant lifestyle that you have to feed, no matter what the area is, and
Yeah.
um, you'd never make a good accountant, obviously. So,
No.
um, so you started your business. What year was that you made
Um,
the leap?
so on my own, it was around the year 2000.
Okay,
Yeah, but doing photography, like when I was doing marketing, um, that would be in 92, 88, 92,
oh,
94,
okay.
I think 95 we were still doing it.
Hmm.
But so yeah, so we got our own studio around 2000, I think it was 99 maybe.
So are you essentially self-taught then?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay.
I really studied hard
Yeah.
as far as photography goes. I knew the basics.
Hmm.
But as far as learning photography, the skill that, for architectural, uh, the pointers you gave us that we studied and worked on. I started in the film days, so it was different.
Oh, yeah.
It's completely different, and I was a hard person to transition to digital because I love shooting film.
Mm.
But learning lighting scenarios,
Hmm.
uh, I'd look at photographers' websites and I'd read magazines, voraciously, and anything that was behind the scenes of how somebody accomplished something.
Yeah.
I wanted to learn how they did it, and I tried to emulate it to see if I could do it or if I could do
Hmm.
it better. And I worked really hard at that. I mean, I remember going into the office. I'd be at my desk at 4 o'clock in the morning, and I'd spend
Mm.
my first few hours looking at other people's work, and I did that for a decade probably.
Mm.
And I still do that. I look around and find a photographer who I admire, and I look at their work, and if they do something that I think I can't, I'm always trying to figure out how they
Yeah.
do that. And it's I mean, that's a really good education.
Yeah, I think so.
And yeah. I don't know if you remember who's the photographer that he had all these great he had some books that I used to read for lighting scenarios. Oh, what
Is
was
it
his
Dean
name?
Collins? Is that who you're
Dean
thinking of?
Collins. Yeah, Master of Light.
Dean
Dean
was
Collins.
such
Oh, um, I've read
he
everything Dean's ever done. And
okay.
if he had because he did for a while, he used to have a website with all these tutorials on it on how he
Right,
did
yeah.
this or how he did that.
Hmm.
Yeah, and I would watch, and of course, he didn't do a great deal of architectural, but he did a lot of advertising photography,
Yeah.
where he'd be in an airport and he'd have to light a scene of a couple coming into a desk or something, or getting off the plane, and he was just phenomenal education, listening to watching him work, and how he would cut a scene or light a scene or it was amazing because he wanted to get everything. He was also in the film days, so it's important
Oh,
that he got
sure.
the shot in camera,
Yeah, you had to
but you
get it
had it,
right.
you had
That
it. Yeah,
I think
you
I
have
think
to get it
that's
right.
yeah, I think that's one thing that those of us who shot film, that was one advantage that we had, is that there was no margin for error. You
Yeah,
either got it right or you did not get it right. You could not fix it, and
yeah.
so you had to get it right. I mean, for me, Dean Collins used to do a 3-day seminar. It was 3 evenings he would do. He would go to a city and he
Mhm.
would do 3 evenings on I think he called it his three-dimensional lighting technique or something like that. And I remember just, you know, coming out of there, just my mind being blown because
Yeah, yeah. So much to do.
there was so much going on. But that was the best education I ever had. I mean, I didn't go to photography school of any kind.
Yeah,
So, and didn't do a lot of assisting other photographers. I assisted a couple bad photographers, but that was something that was so informative to me and just really changed the way I saw lighting. So yeah, I get that.
yeah.
And
No, it was, and then not every photographer, like I'd find some photographers that whose work I used to look at Hedrick Blessing's
Hmm.
work all the time, and
Yeah.
unlike you, I could call you up and or email you and ask you something and you'd respond. You could hold of somebody at Hedrick Blessing back when they were biggest architectural firm in the country for a
Yeah.
while.
Hmm.
Uh, they'd never respond to you. They didn't care.
No.
But I get that a lot. I'll have an up and coming photographer or even someone who's been in the business for a long time. They look at our
Hmm.
website. Hey Norman, how did you do this or how did you do that?
Yeah.
And I always spend time with them.
Sure.
And I'll tell them exactly what I did, how I did it, because I think that I think it's important. I like the what do we want to call it? When photographers interface like that and network together
I think
and
there's a lot of camaraderie in the industry.
camaraderie in it. Yeah, I miss that. I miss that back at when we used to take film in, and sit at
Yeah.
Helix or Lightbox or something,
Hmm.
be able to talk shop with guys.
Hmm.
That's what I so appreciate about the AIAP meeting that you have every month. It's really it's a good way to have some input, see what everybody's doing in the field, and if you have questions, to get them answered. It's
Absolutely.
excellent
Yeah.
service.
It's a really efficient way to get something answered. Otherwise, you'd spin your wheels for a long time, I'm
Which I
sure.
have.
Uh,
I have.
I mean, the last meeting we had was kind of that way. There were several things that it was just for me were so informative that I learned from some of the younger guys
Yeah.
about website design and optimization and things like that. So that was really useful. Um, Early on, what did you do to get clients? How did you go about marketing?
Well, with the studio, it was the Yellow Pages
Hmm.
and and walk-in clients, and we had quite a bit of that.
Mm,
But with architectural, when we wanted to pursue it, when we felt we were good enough to pursue it,
hmm.
I would look at architects' websites that people I admired or builders I admired, or
Oh,
I'd look at local builders who had really poor photography and needed an improvement.
okay.
And and I would do an e-blast, very targeted,
Yeah.
but I would target some high-end builders or interior designers or local architects. And surprisingly, I mean, I don't know how successful that is today, but you know, 25 years ago, people would read your email and I'd
Yeah.
put them and I'd do it with you know, something about you. Your work is great. Your photography isn't, something along those lines. But I would put a picture in there and a link to our website. And I mean, we always got work doing that.
Mm,
If I got slow, I'd put an e-blast out and we'd pick up a lot of work.
yeah.
And today we really don't do a lot of advertising. I don't think we
Mm,
do a lot of social media either. Our website is the biggest source of our traffic,
okay.
and word of mouth, of course, is a real good
Yeah.
way. Yeah.
Well, yeah, I mean, for as many years as you've been around now, I can understand that you don't
Yeah.
really need to develop that traction
Yeah.
that the business does. You probably even end up turning some away.
A few years ago, we did quite a bit of that. We were working 7 days a week, 12 hours a day, and we did that for a couple of years straight. Last year was a little slower, but and I like that chaos. I like that, but you do end up giving some work away, and I like doing that too because there's a lot of photographers. There are so many good photographers
Hmm.
that people are unaware of, and you could just
Hmm.
steer them in the direction. I think there's plenty of work for everybody. Just
Yeah.
steer it over to somebody else, and they appreciate it, and I appreciate them taking care of the clients. So it's a
Sure.
win-win. Yeah,
Yeah. Do you have clients that you've been working for, years and years, and now at
decades.
this point?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Okay.
yeah. We in fact, our what I call our core client base, it's like 15, 20 people.
Mm,
We've been working with them for 15, 20 years.
wow.
Uh, um, we do get some newer clients. I like meeting and talking with somebody, especially if they're new, because if our personalities don't gel and if we're not on the same page,
Hmm.
uh, you know, with our vision for what they're looking for. I'd rather not have a headache client. All of my clients I really enjoy working
Yeah.
with. I look forward to it. We get along well,
Hmm.
and you know, that's my preference. So if I meet someone that has a need and I don't think we're going to work well together, I'll recommend somebody else for them.
I think that's a benefit to both parties, honestly. If
It
it's not a
is.
good fit, it's just not a good fit. So I
Yeah,
think that
because
makes
not
perfect
everybody
sense.
is.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. What's your approach when somebody contacts you for the first time? I mean, um, do you give them a price right off the bat, or do you walk them through?
Generally not. In fact, just this week, no, it was last Friday, I think. We had a firm in Kentucky, an advertising agent, going to be doing some work in the Chicago area, and they
Hmm.
wanted to know what our pricing was. So I responded to the email, what's a good time for me to talk to you? Because I want to get a feel for what they want. I don't think there's any generic number you can just put out, what's your
Yeah,
pricing?
yeah,
Um, we do have a day rate and a half day rate and a picture rate and so forth.
sure.
But usually, depending on what the client's needs are, is it because they mentioned all kinds of things. They want stills, they want drone, they want video.
Mm,
So I really need to know a broader aspect of what you want from each of those things before I can just say, oh yeah, I'm going to give you a generic number for a project. I think all projects they vary, and the variation can fluctuate with your price. It can go up and go down. Um, if it's a consistent client that we've worked with, they know what our rates are.
hmm.
They can do the math in their head and know what a photo shoot's going to cost them. So
Yeah. How important is pricing as far as being competitive? Do you see yourself having to be competitive price wise, or is that less of a
um,
factor than the quality of your work, do you think?
no, well, we don't compromise the quality of our work,
Hmm.
and we're not at the bottom end of the spectrum. I know photographers in the Chicago area that are much more money than we are,
Mm,
and I don't think their work holds up. But they get the price, and I'm good for them.
mm,
It's great. But but I'm not going to compete with somebody on price. This photographer, that photographer. I've always felt that you know the marketing director or who it is that's hiring you, they should they should hire the photographer whose style fits their project.
yeah.
And I think that's the most important thing. Um, Price is never really an issue for us because we don't lower our price. We won't try and compete with somebody who's less money than we are.
Hmm. That makes
I,
sense.
yeah, I mean I don't see the benefit of that
Yeah.
because you do that and you're pigeonholed at that low price all the time. and and we're not inexpensive, so
Yeah, I think that makes perfect sense. Um, Talk me through kind of like your approach when you get on site to a project. Do you use assistants? Do you carry a lot of gear? Do you want to have the client with you the whole time, or
I
what's
like
your working
yeah,
position?
I like when the client's on site. I have several that we work with. They'll just give us an address and a code to get into the into the building, and we'll shoot it.
Yeah.
Um, but I like the client on site. I like talking to them. I want to know what it is that they're looking for.
Hmm.
Um, if it's a larger project, I'll take Mary Beth goes with me.
Hmm.
Sometimes I have one of my sons work with me occasionally. I'll have one of them come along and they'll bring some gear. They can help us with that if it's a large project. For architectural, like if I'm shooting for a condo or a high-end residential, I don't really carry a lot of gear.
Mm,
I will have lights with me. I won't always use them.
hmm.
It depends on what the scene looks like. It depends if I'm shooting at night or not.
Hmm.
But I like the client to send me scouting shots ahead of time. If I can't do a walkthrough, I like even iPhone shots for scouting shot just to get a visual to make sure I'm shooting the room at the proper time of day if we're doing daylight shots.
Yeah.
it's you look at our work on our website, you don't see any blown out lights, you don't see any blown out windows ever.
No.
And that's important to me. I like, because I shoot for designers, they want to see detail.
Hmm.
It's upsetting to me when I see an interior designer and oh, I got stories, I tell you. I I was on a photo shoot, Alan. I was shooting for a designer. The architect was there, and the architect had his own photographer, and they were shooting for a magazine.
Mm.
And the the well-known Chicago photographer he must have had 300-400 pounds of gear with him. I've never seen so much. I mean, you ought to see my collection of equipment. It was nothing compared to what this guy brought. And every scene was a different camera, a different lens, and it was so theatrical.
Yeah.
Um, so during the course of the day, the time that I think he got 4 or 5 shots,
Wow.
and the windows were blown out, the lights were blown out. The shots were airy. That's what he told the director, and they
Right.
were all falling over it. And it was just really bad photography.
Hmm.
When they left, the designer and I stayed, and we shot that place, and it was amazing.
Mm.
I think we got 25 images for the rest of the afternoon and the evening,
Wow.
and they were stunning. But quality photography is a big thing. When people try to sell poor photography and convince others that it's quality work, it's somebody that doesn't have any skill.
Hmm.
You look at, there are so many good photographers that it surprises me at how many mediocre or poor ones have work and
Yeah.
are busy.
Yeah. It's interesting that you mentioned the theatrics of an editorial shoot, because I've seen that a number of times where, and I probably shouldn't mention the magazines,
Yeah, I would mention names, but
but
it'd be
we
too
all know
much
who they
editing.
are. But there is, I mean, the photographer does put on quite a show to convince the client that this is really something special that I'm giving you. And you and I both know that the photographer has no clue what they're doing. And that they're getting what they're getting because the photographer can't deliver anything better than that.
My biggest thing about the shoot that I mentioned, and I'll never forget it. The assistant, he called for his assistant. He goes, "I'm going to do a long exposure." He breaks out a Cambo, 4x5,
Uh-huh.
um, which is a great camera, no question
Yeah.
about it. And he sets it up, and then he has his assistant take two 11x14 black mat boards. And he goes, "Okay," he says, "when I look through the viewfinder, I need you to dodge this out for me." So he goes in front of the camera, and he's rotating these blackboards slower, slower, slow,
Oh,
and everybody's ooh, ah. I almost spit my coffee across the room when I watched him do that. Um, I was with Terry Weinstein. We had to walk into the other room. We were laughing so hard because I know he wasn't doing anything.
no,
After
no.
he gets done with theatrics, then you hear him, pop a quarter second exposure, which was completely blown out. But the architect didn't know, the
No.
marketing director didn't know but it was so theatrical. It was comical.
Hmm.
I wish I
Yeah,
had a video of it.
that's
But I always
pretty
enjoyed
funny.
telling the story, so it's
That's
served me
pretty
well.
funny.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, that's the reason I have a clause in my contract that I don't do a photo shoot if there's any other photographers on site. So,
Yeah, you mentioned that a couple of months ago. That's that's really beneficial to have. I just did a shoot in Wisconsin in Door County, beautiful home,
mm,
and there was a videographer on site doing
mhm.
interviews. It completely skewed our day with
Yeah,
photography.
yeah.
So
It's just, to me, it just really throws things off for me. I just, having to work around somebody else, I just can't do that anymore. So I
yeah,
don't.
yeah,
Yeah, I
no,
had one really bad experience where I had
just one.
there was 4 or 5 other photographers in the same property, and
Oh,
um,
oh, I think I did something like that in Milwaukee.
it was ridiculous.
Yeah, it was for oh, what was it for? Some charity, but it was there was like 15 or 20 different designers and at least that many photographers,
Yeah.
all shooting the same thing.
Hmm. Yeah. And I think that, the homeowner or whoever had said, this is the photography day, take it or leave it kind of thing. And
Yeah.
so, and looking back, I should have left it. But oh well. Um, there's been a big, you know, change in the market as far as our clients over the
Mhm.
years. The marketing directors have become younger, and their emphasis has become more towards social media than it is towards, typical marketing and advertising channels. And what kind of changes have you seen, and how do you handle that, or has it
I
affected
found,
you?
well, I guess it's the quality of the marketing director or the photo editor that we're working with.
Hmm.
I've noticed that a lot of well-established magazines, who we've been in
Hmm.
and whose work I've always admired, they've they've got a younger staff now.
Hmm.
The staff has no education in advertising or very little in advertising. It's the photo editors. Boy, I don't know what to think of them anymore. I don't know how they get that title
Hmm.
because in the past when I started, a photo editor was most likely a pretty skilled photographer. They knew composition, they
Right.
knew marketing, they knew advertising. They had all these skills under their belt, and they were fantastic editors.
Yeah.
The people I work with today, I'll go on site to if we're doing a shoot for an advertising agency and director of marketing. If they're anywhere near my age, I'm relaxed because I
Oh,
know they
sure.
want a quality product and I know they know what they're talking about. Sometimes I get somebody who's, it should where the marketing director was inviting somebody else on the phone because for their 21st birthday, you know, you know, I have clothes older than you. Um, but they, they're very geared towards social media and whatever's trendy seems to be what they're looking for.
Yeah.
It's a trend now. Um, in fact, I just did a LinkedIn post on it and a blog post to shoot interiors with lights off. It's been a trend now for a few years,
Yeah.
and that's just kind of creepy to me.
Hmm.
And they say, and the editors, when I talk to an editor, they say, well, we want the space to look natural, and that's completely contradictory to what a natural space is. If a designer designs a room and they select a light fixture, when you go into a lighting studio, are the lights on? And there's a
Yeah.
reason they're I mean, there's a reason they're on.
Yeah.
And when you walk into a walk-in closet in a master suite, do you turn the light on? You're in a powder room, do you turn the light on? Of course you do. Most people have lights on sometimes in the middle of the day because it adds some sparkle and makes the room look nicer.
Sure.
That's natural. That's
Hmm.
normal. How many people shower in the dark? Nobody. But they're displaying these images that way. And in order to get a view of if the person doesn't know how to use lights,
Hmm.
they'll light it ambiently and they'll have to blow out half of the room just to see what the subject is or what's
Yeah.
focusing on. And then the shadow detail is so dark you can't see anything.
Yeah.
So it's disappointing. Um, and and that's trendy now. And that's poor photography. I won't do that. I've had
Yeah.
clients say, hey, I want to get published. Will you shoot this room with the lights off? And my answer is no, I will not because I won't
Hmm.
put my name on
Yeah.
it.
And I didn't see that happen until digital came along, and I think that's coupled with um, less experienced photographers coming along as well, who who then began to use digital cameras, because
Yeah.
anybody that had any skill level in film would never do anything like that.
Oh,
I mean,
no,
you
yeah.
take the time to balance
You'd
those
get
different
laughed
light
out of the
sources.
room.
Yeah.
Uh, yeah.
So, I mean, to me, it's just laziness because they don't know how to balance different light sources, and they don't know how to control different light values. And so that, you know, then the excuse and the explanation becomes we're doing it natural. So,
Yeah. It's natural, all right.
yeah.
Yeah,
And
they don't know what a color meter is or a light
I
meter.
always wonder what a lighting designer must think of that. You know, somebody who spent all these hours designing a lighting scheme for a space, and then they see photography of it, and their lights are off.
And the lights are off. Yeah, and some, the beveling of the glass, the thickness of the glass, the quality of the glass, all
Hmm.
these things play into the catch light that the light gives,
Yeah.
which is appealing. It's beautiful.
Hmm.
And to shut that out of a design is just like I think it's terrible. And some of the leading publications, that's what you see. The only time you see a beautifully lit room is if it's in an advertisement from an
Right.
architect,
Hmm.
designer. Yeah, thank goodness the commercial side of things hasn't gone that way. When you're
That's
shooting a hospital, they want the lights on.
that's right.
If
Yeah.
you're shooting a resort or hotel, they want the lights on. So
Sure.
it's just
Well,
with the residential aspect that I've noticed that.
yeah, I think that's exactly true. Yeah. What's your client mix like as far as architects versus, like interior designers, construction companies,
Yeah.
different things like
Um,
that?
uh, we work with uh, we work with a lot of hospitality. You
Oh,
know,
okay.
we shoot hotels,
Hmm.
quite a few. That's a nice, and we do that for a construction company. That's been a nice avenue. I enjoy doing that.
Hmm.
Um, we've got architects are probably 25% of our business. The
Okay.
majority of our business are high-end builders and interior designers. Designers are a seasoned designer is my favorite person to work with because they're artistic, they're creative, they want to show beauty,
Hmm.
um, and I like delivering an image that um, that tells their story.
Hmm.
It's it's really rewarding. I like working with a seasoned interior designer. Yeah,
I think um, most photographers find that a little intimidating, um, working with a seasoned interior designer.
no, I
So
like it.
because it does require a really high skill level. So that says a lot about, your abilities, because um, in order to deliver an image that interior designer who's got a high level of experience is going to accept, you have to know
Yeah,
what you're doing.
yeah. I love working with a seasoned interior designer, and I like my we like blowing their doors off. I mean, I like the I try, a lot of people will tether their work and set up a composition, and I don't
Right.
mind doing that. It
Hmm.
slows the photography day down quite a bit.
Yeah.
If we're shooting for an ad, I get it because we want the ad to be perfect.
Hmm.
But and I don't mind the photographer, the designer looking through the viewfinder. But I find that the most successful shoots are when they tell me what they're looking for and they leave us alone. If
Hmm.
we have a question, we'll ask them. We'll make sure that the lighting is set the way they like it and that they've got the room designed the way they want it to be displayed. But the images uh, that that they like the best are when they just leave us alone and let us go ahead and shoot the space. A lot of people that get in the habit, a lot of photographers that get in the habit of going into the corner with the widest possible lens, usually a portrait lens, and and you've got all this ceiling and but and shooting the space.
Hmm.
It's it's a much more enjoyable experience and it raises the level of your work when you're targeting a scene or
Oh
when you're
yeah.
shooting specifically for an ad or you're trying to do a vignette of a space
Hmm.
or you want to shoot a detail for a designer. Those are you need to have a good lens set and a good composition set. And you need to be able to see composition.
Right.
And a good photographer can walk into any space, and in a matter of minutes, we know what the good shots are. We
Yeah.
know when it's going to look best, how it's going to look best, and it's to their benefit if they collaborate with us and listen to that.
hmm
Yeah.
I agree and that only comes with experience.
Yeah, it does. No, it's true. It really does.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, it really does. Well, when we've been doing this for 30 years, so
Yeah. It's interesting you say that about lens choice and composition and everything. I can tell the how many years usually somebody's been in business by how long the lens is and how tight the composition is. Because the longer the person's been in business, the longer the lens is that they're going to use for a shot.
yeah,
And the tighter the composition is going to be, because the tendency for a younger photographer is going to be to back into that corner and try to get as much as possible, um,
yeah,
show
and
the widest view.
there's merit to shooting like that. Sometimes it's necessary.
Well, once in a while
If
it
you do
is, yeah.
if you're doing a spread, you need an
hmm
overall shot.
Well,
Uh,
sure.
Pick
Yeah.
the best view. Don't shoot every corner. Pick the
hmm
best one
Yeah.
and take it from there. Tighten
Yeah.
things up.
But usually you can tell that story in a much more powerful way if you've got a tighter composition. And I know a couple times when I've had photographers assist me. Um, well, usually the first thing that I get asked is, "How did you know to put the camera there?" And that's a question that has no answer. But then the next one, that they usually ask me a lot is, um, why are you using that long, such a long lens? Because I'm using like a 35 or a 45
Yeah,
um, for a shot that they would probably think a 17 would be a better choice for,
yeah,
you know.
no, yeah.
So
You need to have the 17 in your arsenal for sure. But most of our shots, I think the widest when you get that wide, it just doesn't look natural. I mean, with
yeah,
your eye, what is it with your eye? Your eye's a 58 millimeter view. If you're 35
yeah,
millimeter camera, you put a 58 millimeter lens on, put it up against your eye, that's the same view. So, just the way we see things,
hmm
I think the widest you can go comfortably is probably 24.
I think
24 doesn't
24,
look bad.
24 you still believe.
Yeah.
You get wider than 24 and
Look, is
and
that a
you
panoramic?
see, oh, that's wide.
Yeah, yeah.
So
But I agree. We do a lot in the 45 to 55 range
mhm.
for shooting. I think those are very natural, very nice looking shots, show a lot of detail.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and also the point of focus that you select. I mean, the depth of field that you choose to have. That maybe
Yeah.
not everything needs to be in focus. uh,
Oh, who was it that what's a famous photographer? F8 and B there was his thing. Um, but I agree with that. Especially if you're shooting for an ad and you're doing a vignette or something. There's times I'll shoot something wide open, 1.2. If you're close enough to the subject, you
right.
want to highlight something. But that's again an artistic choice, and it's important as a photographer that you have the skill set to know when you need depth of field and when you don't.
hmm
Yeah.
Yeah. Talk to me a little bit about your equipment kit that you normally use.
I never answer this question.
I know that that's an
What
uncomfortable.
kind of
You don't
camera do
need
you
you don't
have?
need to talk specific about, but
No, I
you
know
use.
I'm happy
Oh,
to. I've
sure.
had people hang up the phone on me when I answer this question.
Yeah.
They think I'm lying to them.
Well, yeah, this will
Or
surprise a few people because I know it surprises people when I answer it. So let's hear your answer.
okay. So my main camera is a Sony A850. I think I bought it in 2009. That sound right to you about that?
That's about right. Yeah.
Not right. We have two of them.
Okay.
I also have a Sony AR4. which is a mirrorless camera.
Hmm.
It's a phenomenal camera. I don't like mirrorless cameras, so my preference is always to shoot with the 850.
Yeah.
It gives me a beautiful image.
Yeah.
I oh, it's
That's
just
an
my I mean
amazing sensor on that
it,
camera.
it it is, and I think it's the best one Sony's ever made. The new one, it's very analytical, has a lot of detail in it. It's almost over sharp and almost unnatural.
Mm.
Where the 850 is very forgiving.
Hmm.
It's to me it emulates film,
It has
like
a really
a
smooth
chrome.
look to it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's got a smooth look to it. So that's my primary camera. For a light kit, if I'm going on site, I take a Bowens kit with me.
Okay.
We have two or three lights. We have some scrims and soft
Hmm.
boxes and umbrellas, and that we'll have to set up if we need to. Something I've been doing recently is Mary Beth has sourced us a couple of globes that we
Yeah.
put on the Bowens head, and it's actually got a Bowens mount on it, but
Oh,
it's
okay.
made of plastic, so you got to make sure the modeling light is turned off because
Exactly.
it will burn. I
Yeah.
melted one. But sometimes I'll tuck one of those in a corner, to open up a shadow,
Yeah.
and that works really well. Um, I have a full studio here, and for
Hmm.
that we use photogenic machine, our studio lights.
Okay.
Um, I think the our studio light kit is from the mid 60s. It's the Studio Master 2s, and we
Which are
have four or
amazing
five of
lights.
those.
They're beautiful lights.
Yeah, people look at our studio work and they're like, "Wow, what's the light source?" And to me, that is probably the most beautiful light I've ever seen is photogenic machine. The old ones.
Yeah.
Speedotrons weren't bad. Belcar was pretty good, but if I'm shooting portrait, that's my preferred light.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Speedotrons were just
Yeah, I blew up a couple of
too
guns.
heavy.
Speedotrons, um, they had the Speedotron Browns. I think we blew up the kit. You plug four or five heads into it,
Yeah.
and it had all those capacitors in there, and
That's a
you're
big
powering all
boom.
these heads. And when they go boom, oh, it
Yeah.
was,
I blew up
yeah,
a 4800 head or
yeah,
pack one time. Yeah, that sounds like a howitzer.
yeah. It
Um,
does. Beautiful light though.
oh,
When they're
yeah.
working. Yeah, good stuff.
Yeah, people are always surprised at the age of some of the lights that photographers like us use.
Yeah,
Well, and the cameras for that matter.
yeah.
Um, the,
Yeah, we have I also have a Canon 5D.
hmm.
That's a great camera. Mary Beth really likes that camera, and we've got the full set of Canon lenses with it.
Hmm.
What's nice about the Canon is you can get tilt shift kit for it.
Yeah.
The 24 is really nice. Um, I don't personally use that camera a lot, but Mary Beth loves it, and
Mm.
she likes the color that the Canon gives.
It does have a really
It's
nice
got a character to it.
color rendering. Yeah.
Yeah, and that 5D is a fantastic camera.
Hmm.
If you get a 2, 3, or a 4, they're phenomenal.
Yeah. You mentioned you do video. Is that a big part of your business too?
Um, when we have time, I mean, I like doing video. When I started into photography, we shot TV commercials. So
Oh, okay.
we have a background with doing video. In 2021, 22, 23, we did a lot of video, and we do a lot in the studio here too.
Okay.
This last year, I think we did one or two, maybe.
Mm.
The year before that, we did, 30 plus. So it depends on our shooting schedule because I'd rather shoot photography than video. The
Yeah.
editing for video, which we do ourselves, is it takes a lot. I found here locally a studio, a friend of mine who does podcasts,
Hmm.
Brian McIntyre, and he's helped us with some videos. He did a beautiful job for us, and
Oh,
he does some editing, and his editing is phenomenal. So it's nice if I'm shooting video. I prefer not being behind the camera. I'd rather have a cameraman and use my eye
sure.
and direct than run a camera, direct,
Right.
and hope I got everything. It's better to have some assistance and a good team to do video with.
I think that I think that photographers, like you and I think that's where we might excel better is as a director rather than behind the camera.
As a cameraman, yeah.
Yeah, I think that directing that situation is where maybe our strong skill set is, rather than as a videographer, and other people can do that kind of thing.
Yeah, and for our videos, I mean, you know, Brian has a set of what are they, Black Magic? Is that the
hmm
cameras he uses?
Yeah.
When we do them in studio here, we use the Sony R R47. That's the camera we use for our video, and it does it shoots 4K. It does a beautiful job.
Yeah.
But it's nice to have that as a supplement for your work, and we do offer it to our clients if they need that, but
hmm
it's not our first pick.
Okay.
Yeah, it's a lot easier to walk into a building and shoot than it is to
Yeah.
to script and direct and storyboard
Oh,
and
absolutely.
and,
Yeah.
and then edit a video. Yeah.
Yeah. At this point in your career, looking back, is there anything that you would do differently if you had to do a replay on things? And
A
would you
rewind.
start earlier, or would you do anything
Um,
differently?
I don't know. I'm real happy with the way things have gone and flowed. I wouldn't have mind getting into photography a few years earlier than I did,
hmm
but uh, but the experience I got doing the marketing really helped my photography career,
Yeah.
and and the people I've met since I've been a photographer. When we used to shoot film, I don't know if you've heard of them, Lightbox Studio in East Dundee, south of Chicago.
Yeah.
World premier film developers, Bruce
Right.
Starnberg,
Yeah.
fantastic photographer, good friend of mine.
hmm
He's a fine art photographer, does architectural studio work. He's just amazing. He was a great source of inspiration,
hmm
and it was really nice because if I had a question about something regarding film, because we went from color negative to transparency pretty quick,
Okay.
and we were even shooting models and rock bands and even a wedding in transparencies.
Oh, really?
So yeah, we were so confident of our, because when you shoot E6, you got to get it right.
Yeah.
There is no pushing, there's no pulling. What you shoot is what you get. So we loved the Fuji Astia 100F. It was our favorite film.
Oh, that was a good film. Yeah.
Yeah, and it just looked good no matter what. That we use that for everything.
hmm
And Bruce, he really helped us with that.
mm
And again, having that networking with other photographers and people that are willing to talk about how to do something, share a skill, or
hmm
educate you on how to do something. I think that's paramount for the success of any photographer. And I wouldn't recommend anybody shy away from doing that. It doesn't hurt to ask. Can you
Yeah.
help me with this? How did you do that? What do I need for this? Because particularly if you're looking at the group from AIAP, they'll answer you
Oh,
and
absolutely.
they'll talk to you.
Yeah.
The people that keep that close knit and don't want to share those things with you are probably not the people you want to work with anyway.
No, that's
Yeah.
really true. Um, if you were starting out, I mean, for somebody starting out in this business, is there advice that you give as to how to start out in this business at this point in time?
Well,
It's a
there's
different business than it was when you started.
yeah. I mean, I always wish that I had more schooling under me, like going to Brooks or Columbia,
hmm
um, or Rochester. There was those schools. I don't know what their photography programs are like anymore, even if I know Columbia still exists. I don't know about Brooks, do
Brooks
they?
is gone. Yeah.
Yeah, Rochester's gone. So
RIT's pretty much over. Yeah.
yeah, so that's unfortunate because it requires then that you have to, learn it yourself. The trial and error, is one way to learn, but finding someone to mentor with,
hmm
uh, if you can shadow somebody, I've had people do that with us. I don't mind that at all.
Yeah.
Ask questions.
hmm
I look at other photographers still, and I'll see someone in the AIAP that I admire, and I'll find a YouTube video of them doing a commercial shoot. Just recently did that, and I'm watching this photographer set up this shot,
hmm
and he gets the shot, but he's got all these different lights, all these, so many assistants, all this equipment, and I'm thinking to myself, man, there's an easier way to get that shot. But I watch it anyway, because if I'm ever in that instance and that is my situation, I can execute it.
Yeah.
I've seen others. One pretty famous AIAP photographer who does a ton of videos, and every shot he does, I'm thinking to myself, man, that is the hard way to do that shot. But so maybe I should start making videos. I don't know. But if someone were to call me and ask how I did something, I would certainly talk to them. I'd spend all kinds of, as much time as they wanted to spend. They want to come to the studio, come to the shop, watch us process, watch us shoot. Absolutely. You helped me out, and you were very eloquent and very generous with your time. And that's left an effect on me, because I want to do the same thing for other people if I can. I still look at your work, Alan. I still think, well, how did he shoot that? And if I remember to make a note of it, I'll ask you about it before an AIAP meeting.
Yeah.
But that's how we get better. Iron sharpens iron, and
Yeah.
I think that we make each other better photographers. I think the work I'm doing today is better than the work I did last year, and it's better than the work the year before. When I love what I do, and this is a rewarding career, and I've never had a day where I haven't looked forward to coming to the shoot, or to the office, or to the studio, ever, since I've been doing this. So that's something that to be said for this as a career.
Yeah.
And I like the freedom.
Oh, yeah.
If I want to block out 2 weeks for vacation, then I block out 2 weeks for vacation.
Exactly.
If I want to work extra, I can work extra. If I want to come in late, I can do that.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of freedom. Early in my career, I would shoot anything. If someone called, I'd shoot. If someone, I'm more selective now, obviously. But I encourage anybody that wants to get into this field. This is a rewarding career, and it's a rewarding field to be in. And you need a good skill set. Don't think that you can set your camera on auto and blow out the windows, because that's not the way to get it done.
Yeah, I think what you said about shadowing somebody is so important. There is, unfortunately, as far as academic programs, there's not much around anymore, and certainly not as far as architecture. There's virtually nothing, and so you kind of have to learn from people that are out there that are doing it well. And YouTube's not the place.
No, stay away from YouTube. Oh, if you watch some of the videos on how to be an architectural photographer, you're better off just taking your iPhone out and getting a tripod. It's so wrong.
There's some pretty funny stuff out there.
I can't formulate a sentence. It's pretty bad.
Yeah.
On the other side of the coin, the AIAP is a good source. You look at anybody on that list, they probably have a pretty good skill set. If they have the mindset to belong to this organization, it's because they're doing good work, and they want to do better work, and they want to network. And some of those photographers do put out videos, and they are educational, and they do pull the shot off. They may not do it the same way that I do it, or that you do it, but they get it done, and they get it done right.
Absolutely. Yeah, I agree. I mean, I'm not one of those that has 10 assistants and a truckload of equipment. So I don't do things that way, but there are those that do in our group. But yeah, I appreciate that. Norman, it's been a pleasure speaking with you today. Is there anything that you'd like to add to?
For photographers coming up, work hard, have a good work ethic. It doesn't come easy. And be your hardest critic. Our photography has won hundreds of awards for clients. I have never entered a photo contest. I have no interest in entering a photo contest. When I find out that most of the judges are photographers that couldn't make it in the field, I don't want them judging my work.
Such a point well taken.
I don't care what you think. I know when something looks right. I know when it's good. And reach out to other photographers that you admire. It's worth it, because when you become a skilled photographer, you never have to worry about work. We don't. You
No,
don't, and because you'll always be in demand, and you'll always
absolutely.
be able to deliver a product different than somebody else because you got a high level of skill. Um, the trendy stuff, the mediocre stuff that anybody can do, well, that's just it. Anybody can do it. What I
Yeah,
do, very few people can do.
yeah, exactly. And you've developed a style over the years that's unique to you and obviously in demand. So congratulations on the success you've achieved. It's
Yeah.
been a pleasure talking with you. I'll put links to your
Okay.
website and information about your company in the description of this video and on the podcast channels. This will go out to all the different podcast channels where people can find you on wherever they choose to listen.
Wherever they choose.
This
Yeah.
goes everywhere.
Yeah.
Again,
What they're going
thanks.
to find is Norman's not that interesting.
No, your name came up again and again, so I think people are going to be happy to find out what your story is. So I appreciate you taking the time today.
Okay.
Again, thanks, Norman, and we look forward to talking to you again soon.
Okay.
This has been another episode of A Photographer's Life. If you've enjoyed this program, please let us know by liking this episode and subscribing to this channel. A Photographer's Life is brought to you by the Association of Independent Architectural Photographers. This episode is copyrighted, and may not be used in full or in part, without the written permission of the AIAP. Please join us again soon for another inside look at the world of professional architectural photography.